So we're here talking to Brandon Bird. We're at TCAF in Toronto. This is day 2. And Brandon's here with some of his art, which isn't necessarily a strip, but it's, in my opinion, some of the funniest stuff on the web right now. So you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, I'm an artist, and I mainly do paintings, sort of pop culture inspired stuff, and also sometimes multimedia projects. If you'd like me to show you some stuff, I have paintings here, and then this is a Nicolas Cage color form set that I made, which lets you recreate and restick various adventures of Nicolas Cage. So it's not really a comic, but in terms of style and sort of the same creative kind of humor forces, it's in the same vein.
Talk about a little bit about humor, because obviously you're recontextualizing imagery from pop culture, and it's interesting that your work is very photorealistic, somewhat in its technique and the way you're juxtaposing images and everything. How did you sort of develop that sense of humor?
It kind of, for me, kind of went hand in hand with learning how to paint and control paint. And I was sort of like, well, if I can make something look real, then I can kind of, I want the effect to be, am I really seeing that? Is that really, like, oh my God, how did that come into being? Somebody actually made that crazy, stupid thing. And to me, that's what a realistic painting style best lends itself to, is that sort of like weird shock. I can't really be seeing that crazy image kind of thing.
Now, your work is very realistic and it has a painterly look to it. Do you work a lot? Is a lot of digital work done, or is it done? What's your technique, your process?
The actual technique is pretty traditional. It's with like my own little tweaks and stuff. It's basically, most of these are actual physical oil paintings done on canvas with like an underdrawing and like thin layers of oil till you build up to have like a finished painting. But I will, for the prints, like take out canvas textures so it's like a pure color, and that's just so, you know, when you see a painting you're like, oh, that's a big field of red, but you're not looking at like the texture of the canvas. So I will, you know, after the fact, use some digital things to then reproduce it. But I don't know how to use a tablet thing or anything like that. I wish I did, because that would save me a lot of time.
So talking about some of your topics, I think it's interesting. Let's talk about Law and Order. It's
the best show ever.
I think that's what got a lot of people maybe into your work.
Yeah, I mean, I love the show Law and Order. I like it legitimately and sort of ironically, because there's so much of it, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes. And so I've done a lot of things that like play with that. I've done Law and Order Valentine's, the Law and Order coloring book. And again, that's sort of playing with expectations, like a coloring book about murder, like that sort of thing. And I don't know, Law and Order is the best. And I love the sort of the iconic nature of the characters. They're fun to draw, big wrinkly faces.
Your favorite team, your favorite combination of the season, maybe?
I kind of like the new guys on Law and Order, but you know, anybody paired with Jerry Orbach is perfect.
There's some other references. I think Nicolas Cage has played a bit of a role in your work, and he's as an actor, he's an interesting guy.
He's a Looney Tune. Like I like painting him because he's got such a goony face. And because I don't think anyone can really figure the guy out. Is he playing a joke on all of us? Is he actually serious? And I think it's art's duty to really tackle those questions, and it's probably something that's not going to be resolved for ages to come, and art should be around to continue to address that for future generations.
I can do my Nicolas Cage pose if I just hold my hands. That's one of my favorite scenes that he's done. So, you work with a lot of pop culture characters. Have you had any contact or communication that some of the people you've lampooned slightly have read or looked at your work?
I've heard from lots of people involved with Law and Order, and for the most part, they're like flattered with it. Actors have bought or requested stuff through their, assistants or whatever. But for the most part, like, it's not really important that Nicolas Cage ever sees that thing. Like, just because it's not about Nicolas Cage the man, it's about Nicolas Cage the entity that he has put forth into culture. So, I'm not doing it to get recognition from the subject. It's not important.
Not important, and definitely not important. And I guess, if you want to maybe talk about, are there any future things you can talk about, maybe people or characters that you're thinking of doing, or is it all top secret?
It's pretty top secret, just because if I mention something, then I tend not to do it for like 2 years. But I'm working on a bunch of stuff, and hopefully it will all turn out and be awesome.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us. Thank you to coming out to TCAF. It's, I love your stuff, and, I'm very happy and glad you came out.
Yeah, TCAF is great. Toronto's great. I'm glad I came, and thanks for interviewing me.